In March 1974, farmers digging a well in China's Shaanxi province struck something hard. Beneath the crust of dirt, they found a face. That single face belonged to a statue within a buried complex spanning 98 square kilometers. Guarding this subterranean city were over 8,000 life-sized terracotta soldiers, placed there in 210 BC to protect China's first emperor in the afterlife. Looking closely at the ranks, early archaeologists noticed something staggering. No two faces were identical. The immediate assumption was that each of these figures was a unique custom piece of art, sculpted entirely by hand. But treating the Terracotta Army as a collection of individual masterworks creates an insurmountable logistical problem. We are taught that standardized parts and assembly lines were born in the factories of the 18th century Europe and 20th century America. We attribute these concepts to Western minds like Eli Whitney and Henry Ford. 2,000 years before those men lived, the Qin Dynasty was operating in an era of brutal, accelerating warfare. They did not have the luxury of slow, bespoke craftsmanship. Survival required arming hundreds of thousands of soldiers. 700,000 laborers worked on the emperor's mausoleum over 38 years, but individually hand-sculpting 8,000 life-size statues alongside perfectly engineered weapons would take centuries. The time frame and labor required for such math simply does not align. Researchers realized that analyzing the warriors as art was the wrong approach. To understand how they were built, they had to be examined as manufactured products. The tomb complex provides the physical evidence of a sophisticated industrial supply chain operating long before the mechanical age. The terracotta soldiers were never carved as single solid blocks of clay. They were constructed using a highly organized system of standardized parts. Production was divided across specialized workshops. One facility mass-produced heavy legs to provide each soldier with a stable base. Others focused on torso molds and separate arms. The illusion of individuality was created last. Heads were pressed from basic templates, then hand-finished with unique mustaches and wrinkles. To keep these disparate workshops functioning in unison, administrators oversaw centralized clay processing. By controlling the raw materials and breaking the complex final product into standardized subassemblies, the Qin engineered a cellular manufacturing network. This obsession with industrial scale extended directly to the lethality of the soldiers' equipment. Buried alongside the clay figures are over 40,000 perfectly preserved bronze weapons. For decades, a theory circulated that the Qin possessed a modern chromium anti-rust coating. Traces of chromium were found on the blades, seemingly explaining their immaculate condition after 2 millennia underground. Recent analysis using portable X-ray fluorescence spectrometry proved the chromium was actually contamination from the lacquer applied to the terracotta figures. What the scientists actually found was a carefully controlled copper-tin alloy, optimized in specific batches for hardness and flexibility. The blade survived for 2,000 years, not because of a mysterious coating, but through an exacting batch metallurgical process. The peak of this engineering system is the bronze crossbow trigger. It is a precise 5-part mechanism that locks the string under high tension and releases it with a controlled pull. When modern archaeologists gathered triggers from entirely different locations within the pits and tried swapping their internal components, the parts fit each other flawlessly. The artisans achieved this consistency through a technique called stack molding. By stacking multiple identical molds vertically and pouring molten bronze down a single central channel, they cast numerous identical trigger components in one continuous pour. On the battlefield, this created a devastating logistical advantage. If a soldier's crossbow broke during combat, a replacement trigger part could be salvaged from a fallen weapon and installed immediately. No skilled armorer or custom fitting was required. This makes the Qin crossbow trigger the earliest verified mass-produced interchangeable military artifact in human history. Enforcing these exact tolerances across a vast empire without digital sensors or modern calipers required a severe management strategy. The state of Qin operated under a philosophy known as legalism. State law mandated that every weapon had to physically bear the inscribed name of the craftsman who made it. Analysis of the weapons reveals a rigid 3-tier accountability chain etched into the bronze. The inscriptions list the prime minister, the mid-level supervisor, and finally, the individual artisan on the factory floor. If a trigger mechanism jammed on the front lines or a sword snapped due to a casting flaw, officials could trace the weapon back to the exact workshop. The responsible craftsman faced severe punishment. This traceability was a lethal quality assurance system, utilizing the threat of execution to guarantee industrial perfection. The extreme bureaucratic engine that built this manufacturing empire also ensured its destruction. The crushing taxation and forced labor required to sustain production pushed the populace to the breaking point. Just 14 short years after the first emperor unified China, widespread peasant rebellions completely tore the Qin dynasty apart. While elements of modular design persisted in Chinese material culture, the intense centralized accountability system that enforced true interchangeability was abandoned by the dynasties that followed. This collapse demonstrates that technological progress is not a guaranteed straight line. A civilization can master the complexities of mass production and then lose that knowledge for 2 millennia. When we talk about the pioneers of modern industry, we picture the steel mills of the 19th century and the moving assembly lines of Detroit. We rarely picture the clay and bronze artifacts resting under the soil of Shaanxi. The Qin architects did not stumble into mass production by accident. They designed an entire national economy around the principles of standard measurement, supply chain logistics, and modular assembly. If a civilization could implement interchangeable parts, 2,000 years before the industrial age, it suggests that the core concepts of modern manufacturing are not a recent discovery, but a recurring peak of human organization. Subscribe to the channel to explore more historical mysteries that challenge everything we thought we knew about the past.